Introduction. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this lecture series. Today, we begin with a theme that has accompanied humanity since its earliest days, the constant search for meaning behind evil and the mysterious figure that has been known by countless names: the adversary, the tempter, the prince of darkness, or simply the devil. From the dawn of civilization, people have wrestled with questions that seem as old as existence itself. Why does evil exist? Where does suffering come from? Is there a personal force behind destruction and corruption, or are these simply projections of our human fears? These questions are not marginal. They touch the very heart of philosophy, religion, and human psychology. In ancient Mesopotamia, people explained sickness, drought, and madness as the work of unseen powers. In Egypt, forces of chaos were personified in gods who opposed the cosmic order. In Persia, Zoroastrian dualism drew a sharp line between light and darkness, truth and lies. And later, in the Judeo-Christian tradition, the figure of Satan emerged with more definition. No longer one of many spiritual beings, but the embodiment of absolute opposition to God. Now, one may ask, in our modern age of technology, satellites, global communication, and scientific advancement, does this figure still have a place? Many intellectuals argue that the devil is nothing more than a relic of medieval superstition, a convenient scapegoat used to manipulate the masses. Yet, paradoxically, belief in the demonic has not disappeared. In fact, in some places it has grown stronger. At the turn of the 21st century, the Catholic Church dramatically increased the number of officially trained exorcists. Popular culture continues to glamorize darkness, with music, films, and literature turning symbols of evil into objects of fascination. This paradox reveals something deeper. Humanity, no matter how advanced, cannot escape the question of evil. We may no longer picture the devil with horns and a tail, but the reality of temptation, corruption, and destruction remains. In many ways, the devil has simply adapted to modern times, appearing less grotesque but far more subtle, not necessarily through direct possession, but through ideologies, obsessions, and the seduction of power, wealth, and unrestrained desire. In this introduction, I want to emphasize two extremes that we must avoid. On one hand, there are those who deny the existence of evil altogether, reducing it to mere psychological or cultural constructs. On the other hand, there are those who become morbidly fascinated with darkness, obsessing over occult practices, conspiracies, and demonic details until they lose balance and perspective. Both approaches are dangerous. Denial blinds us to reality, while obsession enslaves us to fear. Therefore, our task in this series is to seek balance, to explore the historical roots, the cultural transformations, and the theological significance of the figure of the devil, without falling into denial or fanaticism. We will examine how myths, religions, and societies shaped their understanding of evil. We will analyze the psychological mechanisms that lead humanity to externalize its inner shadows into an enemy figure. And finally, we will reflect on what all of this means for us today, in a world still deeply influenced by forces of ideology, violence, and spiritual hunger. This is not merely a study of superstition or ancient folklore. It is a study of ourselves, because the story of the devil is, in many ways, the story of humanity's struggle with its own darkness. So, as we begin this journey, from history to theology, from myth to psychology, from the visible to the hidden, I invite you to keep your minds open, your hearts attentive, and your spirits discerning. For what we are about to explore is not only about the past, but about the ongoing battle that shapes our present reality. Let us begin.